Wait, I love that. Let's start with deep breaths.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back
Hi.
to the couch.
I almost forgot to open my eyes.
We're joined today by my dog, Insidious Yeast Infection.
Oh. Ouch. I'm scarred.
What did you want to call him today?
Latoya Dion Luckett. That's okay. You're doing great. He's like,
You good boy.
I'm sorry.
He's so used to Tiffany because she's here all the time. I mean, you're here at a minimum once a week.
That's true.
So he's just, you might as well you're part of the pack.
Was I the first
part of the ship, part of the crew?
Part of the ship, part of the crew? Was I the first person, not you guys, to see Bruce?
Yeah. You came over.
Like,
I remember he was still a puppy and I was living in a studio apartment with a Great Dane puppy, which was insane and delusional. Mm-hmm. I was an idiot. That was 3 years ago. I was in that apartment that is now being torn down. Like literally as we speak, it's boarded up now.
Makes me very sad.
No, it breaks my heart. Yeah. Even though it had black mold and it was rotting from the inside. My ceiling caved in. It was a crazy apartment I had. That was a crazy apartment.
Mouse problem.
The one with the mouse problem. I love that apartment though, because it was my first Manhattan apartment.
I know.
And it to me felt like my first like real big girl apartment.
It was cute.
I love that place. Whatever. I thought it was cute, and we got Bruce and we brought him home and he was we got him from a farm in Pennsylvania. I just revealed his name. What was that?
What was that?
All right, fine. If you watch the podcast, you've earned it. My dog's real name is Bruce.
After all this time.
Anyway, we brought him home. He was 29 pounds as an 8-week-old puppy.
Crazy.
We brought him home to that studio apartment, and I invited Tiffany over. Mm-hmm. And he was so cute.
He was adorable. He
had
on a little sheep sweater. Y'all had him in the sheep sweater.
Yeah, we had a little lamb sweater on. And now look at him. He's huge.
He's a big boy.
And he still lays right in your lap, just like he did back then.
When I walked in the door, I said, "You may call me Aunt Vicky from the Parent Trap."
And ever since then, every time you walk in the door, you go, "It's Aunt Vicky."
Aunt Vicky.
Great Danes are wonderful. One day I'll have to do a whole episode on dogs. That'll be another episode. We will do an episode on dogs.
I'll bring Winston.
And we'll talk all about... She is a dachshund. I have a Great Dane.
That I always ask Taryn questions about because I don't know shit about raising a dog.
But you're doing a great job with your dog. So you know some shit about some shit.
We trying. It came along. I remember the first time I called you. I was sitting on the floor with him and I think he was 4 pounds when we got him, which is crazy.
He was the tiniest little puppy.
Such a tiny little baby. And I was like, "Girl, I got a dog." And you said, "You did what?" And I said, "I got a dog." But then I proceeded, this is how I know we friends. I proceeded to get mad when you tried to give me advice on how to take care of him because I was like, "I got it." Knowing good and damn well I did not have it. But you were very gentle and kind with me throughout my doggy rearing process.
That's nice of you to say. That's a good segue into what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about friendship. And we actually don't have a structure really today. We're just talking about our friendship. That's it. That is all. We have no props. We have no gag today.
No makeup.
Just us talking about being friends.
And with that, Travai Diva.
Travai Diva.
Cheers.
Oh.
Brucey. Settle back.
Darling, settle, darling. Settle, darling. Settle, darling. Settle, darling.
And he's back.
This is fun because I think if anyone's tuning in to the podcast, I'd like to believe they're mostly interested in our friendship. So there might be some folks where this is the first episode that they look for and watch. Like if they're coming to the podcast and there's a time in history when all these episodes are released, I could imagine that somebody might go to this one first if they were interested in just hearing about our friendship. And
I probably would too.
Maybe.
I'd skip over everything else and be like, "I'm here because I want to know why they're crazy."
And like, it's cool because we've known each other how many years?
3 years?
Only 3.
I know.
We were on a set for a commercial, which will never air now. We know it got cut and we can't talk about it. We can't even say what it was.
I'm not even gonna look.
Which hurts my heart. We wrote and acted in this ad, and it is so funny.
Funniest shit
it is my
ever done.
Favorite thing we have ever done. Y'all will never see it because it can't air because it basically they just the brand decided to go a different direction.
Which happens.
It happens. That's okay.
It is what it is.
At the end of the day, we still got paid.
And that's on that.
Hey!
Checks were still cleared.
And that's on that.
And that's on that. Travai diva.
Made sure
Period.
to check clear. But it does hurt my heart because it's one of my favorite things we've ever done.
It's so funny.
And when we were on set for this, the person in charge that with the brand had said they'd come to me and they said, we love your friendship with Tiffany. Can you write a skit with Tiffany? And I said, absolutely. And I wrote the skit and they loved it and we shot it and all that. And when we finally were done shooting the entire thing, mind you, when I work with Tiffany, when you see Tiffany and I do a skit together, it is mostly improvised. It is not fully scripted.
Very much
I will tell her the direction we're going.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell her like the point of what we're doing or why I think we should be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany's amazing. You are such a natural talent. Like
Thanks.
the moment I met you, I just wanted to be funny with you.
And I will say on the heels of that though, you're an incredible director. I trust you implicitly to do. You tell me what to do and I do it. And I'm really great at that.
But God, you are so good at taking direction and you're so, I'll write a line out. I'll be like, Tiffany, what if you said it like this? Like we say it like this and then we'll do the scene or whatever. We'll do the skit. And Tiffany take the line. And oh my God, she did it way funnier than it was way funnier coming out of your mouth than mine. Or I'll say, do this line and then she'll do it 3 different ways. And the third take is the one that I'd never thought of doing, but you said it in this way that only you could say it, and it was so funny.
Yeah.
And so whenever I get a brand deal, a lot of the time I go, well, can I hire my own talent or can I hire my friend Tiffany? And they almost always say yes because you are so funny.
Which I have to pause you there. Thank you, homie, for always putting my name in the room. It's crazy.
Oh, it's not hard.
I know it's not, but you do it anyway.
It's not me doing like you a favor or something. Like I like working with you and you're good to work with and you're talented. That's why your name is on my mouth, right?
Yeah.
But the point of the story is somebody from the brand had an executive at the brand. Let me edit this back, Trace. She's not executive. Somebody important at the brand had turned to us. And she said, now, how long have you and Tiffany been friends? And she's been following our content. That's why she hired us. And we were like, oh, like only 3 years. And she was like, this entire time I thought you guys were childhood friends.
Yeah.
Because the banter, like the way that we communicate, it's so natural.
It's very natural. The ease with which we live in each other's spaces is unmatched. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I'm really grateful for that. And I think I'm really blessed to have a lot of incredible friends, and so do you. It's fun to compare notes about that and how lucky we are. But a cool thing about our friendship in particular is I feel that I can be so myself with you, and I feel so lucky that, like, man, I can be so unguarded with you to the point where I can make a really dark joke and I can be laughing about it, and then in the next moment maybe I'll start to cry. And it's all okay and it's safe and you understand it and you get it. And I can just say something to you in an accent or whatever, and you understand how I'm feeling and what I'm saying. And I just really feel like, and I've said this to you before, I'm a spiritual person. You're a Christian. I've always believed in a higher power, but my friendship with you has really solidified my belief in a higher power, because I really feel that I was made to be your friend. Like, I was meant to be in your life and you're meant to be in mine.
Me too.
Because sometimes I really feel like we can just read each other's minds.
It's crazy. And then hearing other people's reaction to us just being and living together is funny, because they say the same thing. It's like, y'all really do share the same brain.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes we're speaking the same language. When I think is really beautiful. I hope other people can have that in a friendship and in your life. My stomach just gribbled, but she's done gribbling.
See, you didn't have Popeyes. I did. And I'm okay.
For now.
For now. I'm getting a little peckish, if I'm being honest.
We've traveled all over together. We've been all over together. We've done so many things together. Trains, planes, and automobiles.
Usually ones that you're driving. I am your passenger princess.
You are my passenger princess, baby.
I don't
worry about me.
I'm driving with everybody else, but I will get in the passenger seat with you and cool it. I need not be behind the wheel.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do like to drive. One thing that's been really incredible, but long before I met you, I was at somebody's bridal shower, and a woman stood up and read a passage, and I remember this woman, I had been told she's a family friend of the bride, and she'd been married for a really long time. Whenever there's somebody at a bridal shower who's been married 50 years or 40 years, you know they're about to drop some knowledge
nuggets
on you peasants that know nothing of marriage. So I always like to hear them speak, right? Like, let her speak. let her speak. Let her speak. So this woman stands up. We'll call her Janet.
Shirley. Oh,
I like Shirley better.
Okay.
Shirley stands up. And the poem that she reads was called Keep Your Girlfriends.
Oh.
And it wasn't what I was expecting. It's a bridal shower. I thought she was going to talk about marriage.
Yeah.
And the whole point of what she chose to share with this bride was how it is when you get married and you're enjoying your husband or whoever it is you're married to. The whole purpose of the story is that it was really beautifully done, and I wish I could find it and read it to you. So I have actually found Keep Your Girlfriends, and this is what she read, and it was so impactful to me. Okay, it's called Keep Your Girlfriends. I sat on a porch in Waycross, Georgia on a summer day drinking iced tea and visiting with my mother. Quote, "Don't forget your girlfriends," my mother advised, clinking the ice cubes in her glass. No matter how much you love your husband, you're still going to need girlfriends. Remember to go places with them now and then. Do things with them. And remember that girlfriends are not only friends, but sisters, daughters, and other relatives, too. What a funny piece of advice, I thought. Hadn't I just gotten married? Hadn't I just joined the couple world? I was now a married woman, for goodness sake. Not a young girl who needed girlfriends. But I listened to my mom. I kept contact with my girlfriends and made more each year. As the years tumbled by, one after another, gradually I came to understand that my mom really knew what she was talking about. Here is what I know about girlfriends. Girlfriends bring casseroles and scrub your bathroom when you need help. Girlfriends keep your children and keep your secrets. Girlfriends give advice when you ask for it. Sometimes you take it, sometimes you don't.
Amen.
Tiffany.
Lord knows. Lord knows. I'm like, that was cute. Anyway.
Girlfriends don't always tell you that you're right, but they're usually honest. Girlfriends still love you. I know. No, I'm sorry. Girlfriends still love you, even when they don't agree with your choices. Yeah. Damn, I haven't read this poem in years.
Wait, so when was the wedding? How long has it been?
I still lived in Seattle.
Holy cow.
The last time I heard this, I lived in Seattle. This was when I was 20 years old.
Okay, keep going. I'm dying. This is great.
And this is exactly how I remember it. Girlfriends laugh with you and don't need canned jokes to start the laughter. Girlfriends pull you out of your jams. Girlfriends will give a party for your son or daughter when they get married or have a baby, in whichever order that comes. Girlfriends are there for you in an instant when the hard times come. Girlfriends listen when you lose a job or a friend. Girlfriends listen when your children break your heart. Girlfriends listen when your parents' minds and bodies fail. Girlfriends cry with you when someone you love dies. My daughters, sisters, family, and friends blessed my life. When we began this adventure, we had no idea of the incredible joys or sorrows that lay ahead, nor did we know how much we would need each other. So, keep your girlfriends.
Oh, that's you crying. I knew it.
Get out of here. Don't look at me, you dumb. What are you, a sheep?
Oh, that's so beautiful. No, and it's been years since you've heard that.
I always remembered it.
That's
I don't know
crazy.
why it was so. I was only 20 when I first heard that, and it was so impactful to me. And it's only true now.
It's true. It's exactly how you've described girlfriendhood, and I tell you this all the time. You're the first person who said to me, "Keep the man, but your girlfriend's like." No, what do you say? You say it.
It's like
we
I
know the man. It's like you always say.
We don't know what I always say. We don't know what it is. Something.
But you say something to the effect of the man we know may or may not be there at the end, but I'll be there.
Oh, yeah. He may not be at the wedding, but I will be.
And I was like, the first time you said that. And now all these years later, I'm like, it's 1,000% true. Like you have taught me the power of women, the power of girlfriendhood, the power of being vulnerable, of being open, of being a woman, truly, of leaning into all of the beautiful things that make women women, and why you show me how and why we're so different from men. We're made to be different in that way. We emote differently, we feel differently, we love differently. You are the prime example of what all of that looks like. I mean, I would not be the woman that I am today, hands down, if I had not have met you and had not have learned to love in the way that you've shown me how to love. It's crazy.
But I feel the same about you. You've taught me so much about patience and love. And Tiffani is someone who, I remember when we had only just recently become friends, I was in a calamity, whatever. And it was late at night, and this was many years ago now, right? 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Whatever, because we had just become friends.
Like,
please hold while I land my cattle.
Good boy, Bruce.
ASMR dog chewing.
You just have to keep taking continual bites of the apple.
I had gotten into a fight with my now husband, who's my boyfriend at the time, and I was just so mad. And I'd never done this before, but I was particularly PMSy, right? And it was like 11 p.m. and he'd gone to bed, and I was like, you know what? I'm going for a walk, and I left the house, right? And this was so irresponsible of me, but I just wanted to go for this walk, and I'm walking in Central Park. I lived in the Upper East Side, and Tiffany lived in the Upper West Side. And I went into Central Park. A guy, trigger warning, assault. I'll give you a moment. It's not a joke. I'm going to talk about assault briefly. A man who was not well jumped out of a bush, and he frightened me, and he tried to punch me. I'm screaming my head off. I didn't know what to do. He came out of a bush. Came out of the snow. Like daisies. I was like, ah! He was like, ah! He swung at me. Crowd.
Y'all both screaming at each other.
Ah! I didn't know what to do. Then he was like, whoo. I was like, whoa. I ran away.
I gotta go.
I didn't even look behind me. I ran like lightning.
This isn't funny, but the whole exchange is just sound. Ah!
Oh! 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 Like, whoa.
Gotta go.
I was out of there.
That's not funny.
I ran so fast. And one thing about me, Tiffany knows this. You want to try and catch me on foot? Not gonna happen.
Good luck. She got the wheels on her.
I had them wheels on me. I was like Gandalf at the front of the army during the charge. How the hell did I have speed like that? We don't know.
You are quick. It's crazy.
I'm fast as hell.
No, I'm not gonna tell them.
If there's ever a show that comes out, I want there to be, this Dancing with the Stars? It'd be like Olympic sports with the stars. And it's all of a sudden there's normal stuff. Put me in track and field. Juliana Huff. Because you'll see sparks coming out of his feet.
It's so fast.
I was fast. So I ran away. I was actually fine. I came out of the park unscathed, more shaken up than anything, just startled by what had happened between me and this stranger. And now I'm on the Upper West Side. It's now like midnight. And now I'm upset all the way around because my husband's asleep, and I know how, and he did end up being really, really upset because something could have happened to me and he was asleep. So now I'm like, well, I can't go back to the park and go home. I'm so upset all the way around. I don't know why I did this. I'm so proud. And I actually called a different friend first who was not in town at the time. So I couldn't stay at her place.
Someone that you've known much longer.
Yeah, who lived in the Upper West Side. And then my next call was, who else do I know on the Upper West Side? And I called Tiffany. And I will never forget, I called Tiffany, and I'm tearful. And I just like, girl, I ran away from home. And this guy came out of a bush. I had to run away. She goes, oh my God.
I can see where I'm walking as you're telling me this.
And I said, I don't know if you're home or if you're around. And you said, I just walked in the door. Where are you? Drop a pin. And I'll never forget, coming down the street was Tiffany. You were in a bonnet?
I was in my bonnet, nightclub. I had just left work. We worked at the same bar, but different locations.
Yeah. I worked downtown. You worked uptown.
Yep. And the uptown location was on the end of my block. And she called me by happenstance as I was walking out of the door, walking into my front door. It was crazy, like a 3-minute span. And you called me, and I threw on the bonnet, threw on my pajamas, took off my
I couldn't get my words out. I was so upset.
She was
Tiffany,
so distraught.
In the middle of the night, comes running down the street.
It's cold as hell.
She had both her hands open like this, just coming down the street. And you were like, Jared, are you okay?
It's
and
just
I was
you
like,
and I on the street.
Yeah, I'm fine. And there were these two cops that were sitting in their car. And Tiffany's walking up and she goes, girl, you got to go talk to him. I said, what do I say? I don't know what to say. Like, the guy was in the woods. I don't know. And she goes, you said, just tell your story. And I go to the cop car and I'm like, and I have a double bag. I was like, hey, and the cops get out and they're already looking at me like, what
completely unamused.
And I was like, well, ran away from home.
And I'm behind her like this.
Like the yellow bonnet lady. Tiffany's behind me like, interjecting.
And tell them what happened next.
Like, I go around the corner. God jumped out of the bushes. Tried to get me. But the thing is, officer, I can't be caught.
I'm like, she is quick.
That's when I made my escape, officer. Then I was out of there. Lightning, crowd. Honestly, I feel bad for the guy. He had no idea what hit him.
That's exactly.
I look like Ghost Rider coming out of the park.
It was funny, though, as you were explaining it, you were saying, I feel bad for the man, he's in distress, because you work with in distress individuals at times.
Yeah.
So as you're explaining the story, you also have this heart, which I loved about you in that moment. You were...
I didn't want him to be arrested or anything.
Yes.
Because I could tell he wasn't well.
So you're coming to this person's defense as well. I'm there like, I'm laughing internally, but I'm also like, what? Like, this woman is amazing.
That's sweet of you.
It's crazy.
I basically was like, the officers are not amused. And like, so what do you want us to do? And I was like, well, I don't want you to arrest him. I just think that there is an individual who is obviously in distress in the park. And he tried to get me. But like I said, officer, I can't be got.
Just noting that
I have them wheels on me, so I'm fine. Okay, but I basically was just like tear streaked. Like, I can just tell that this man's not well. He is upset. He's rattled, and I don't want anyone to get hurt. Yep. That was my concern. Yep. I was like, I don't want anyone to get hurt.
Yep.
The officers, long story short, basically were like, well, there's not much we can do. You didn't give us really good description, and he's in the park. We're over here, and I ended up basically being like, you know what? Never mind. They were like, well, where are you going to go? And I said, I'll go. And Tiffany jumps in and she goes, she'll be staying with me. I was like, oh, I'm staying with her. So I ended up staying the night at Tiffany's house. But my favorite thing about you, Tiffany, is anyone else, including me, and I'll be totally honest, including me, would have wanted to know every detail. What was the fight about? Why was it so bad that you had to go for a walk in the middle of the night and run away from home? And I was prepared for the fact that I was going to have to go into all the dirty details of this thing that I was honestly, frankly, pretty embarrassed about. It's embarrassing to have a fight with your significant other and involve your friends. It's just, and
it's not your style.
It's not to my taste.
It's not your taste.
It's not to my taste. We don't fight very often, so this wasn't something that I was happy about. And I knew, frankly, that I was the one overreacting. I was the one that had to be dramatic and go out in the night and look, and all these things ensued that I remember thinking, this was so unnecessary. I should have just gone to bed, but I was just being so dramatic and immature. And anyways, anyone else would have taken that opportunity to figure out what was going on. But you said, are you okay? And I said, yeah. And you said, do you want to talk about it? And I said, not really. And you went, okay. And we turned on Made in Manhattan. No, we turned on a movie.
Our favorite.
We ended up watching, we put on The Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement because it's my happy, feel-good movie. And we sat in Tiffany's bed and we didn't talk about it.
We didn't. Well, and I apologize for the rats rumbling outside my window because this was that apartment.
But that is really the friend you are. Like, and that you have taught me so much about what friendship looks like. In that moment, I didn't want to talk about it and you were okay with that. And I did go on to tell you all the details and get your insight. And you did agree that I was overreacting, and I knew that. But the point was, that's the point.
The point was.
This is like our show as well as every car on my street.
They've been good today.
They've been good. That's friendship. Yeah. It's just like, it's not even people are like, friends never judge. That's not true because friends are human and people judge. Yeah. I judge. Yeah. I do. I try not to, but people judge. We sit here and judge all the time.
We hold court.
I think it's just showing up for people as best you can.
And that is a way. That's the key word, as best you can.
And that is a way in which you were really able to show up for people. You don't over ask questions. You don't need to know every detail, and you don't need to give your opinion. If it's not asked for, then you do not need to give it. And I love that about you.
Which is so funny because I want other people's opinions. And that's where we have our sticking point sometimes, because I'm like, tell me, but then I actually don't want to know, but I do want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think you want my opinion right now.
Thankfully, you're smart enough.
I love that about you.
Yeah.
And I think you are so good at that, and I want to learn that from you, and I'm trying to be better about that because you are so good at that.
But I will say, I think one of the things that we love the most about you, all of our friends, is that you are so, and I know you don't want to hear this, but you're maternal in that way. Like,
I don't think I'm maternal at all.
Oh my God, you're the most mom there is, but in the best way. But you have such a beautiful example of what motherhood is. Wendell is honestly that girl, as we all know. And you're like her in that way. And I couldn't imagine Taryn without you being someone who's quick to offer advice. But I also know...
I don't know if I like that about me.
No, listen.
You're right. But you're right. I am like that.
I love that about you, though. Like, you can't let people just struggle. You want to help. You do not let people sit in their mess, which is a beautiful thing.
You know what is the most me shit ever? I'm
what?
On camera. I don't want to tell you what to do. But here's what you need to do. That is the worst thing about me. I can't help myself.
No, it's not. It's beautiful because when people are in the trenches, they don't have sometimes the wherewithal to figure out what the next best step is. And you're there with support in that way. That means the world to me. So when you say that you've showed me what friendship looks like, that's how you've shown me what friendship looks like. Yeah. Like you can keep a cool head when no one else does. When shit's just hitting the fucking fan.
I do get very calm.
Calm.
People don't think that because I'm such an erratic person. I weirdly, when things go crazy.
When the chips are down.
You and me are locked in. We're a good pair.
We got this on lock. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. No, you're beautiful in that way. I love that about you. I'm like, and the advice that you give is great too. It's not like you're telling people to do dumb shit.
Hopefully not.
Never.
Unless it's leave their man. I usually am like, leave your man.
Leave the man. You did tell me that. And it took me a while to listen. But when I did, I was the happiest I've ever been.
I have told Tiffany to leave a man before.
She has told me. And I didn't listen for a very long time. And then I did. And I've never been happier.
Anyway. So, to anyone listening, and we get a lot of questions about it. We get a lot of people talking about our friendship, right?
Yeah.
Like they see our friendship online, see us joking together. They're like... and the most one that hits me the most, and we've talked about this on the show before, is folks that comment and say, you give me hope that I can find this. There are a lot of folks out there, a lot of women out there, maybe you've moved to a new place, so you do have good friends, but they live far away, and you're looking for friendship. Go ahead, what?
I want to ask you, on that note, this is a question. Do you think...
You beat me. I was going to ask you a question.
Oh, that's so funny. We'll circle back. Do you think that in the way that people tell... people in search of romantic relationships, it'll come to you when you're least looking for it? Do you think platonic or female relationships are similar in that way?
No.
I don't think so either. Because I was thinking, what would we tell those people who say, how did you find this?
Because with a romantic relationship, you have, I don't know if this is an advantage or not, you have the layer of chemistry and lust.
Oh,
so a lot of you find your romantic relationship because you bump into somebody on the street or you find them on a dating app.
Yeah.
And the initial indicator was that you are attracted to each other.
Yeah.
And then you build X, Y, and Z from there. That's a real thing. I don't know what you want me to say.
True.
What do you want me to say?
What do you want to say?
You want me to rewrite history?
Yeah.
That's why you're meeting your husbands and your wives and your theys and your thems and your everything else. It's because you want to have a little dibble dabble. Mm-hmm. Okay? Don't tell me you don't want to dibble or dabble. Because I've seen you dibbling and dabbling.
Ew.
Hey, I've been to 23rd Street. Anyhow.
My eyes were closed, so all I heard was just sound.
Like just that's noise. How I feel. Take it or leave it. I dibble and dabble with my husband all the time.
Jesus.
Back to the UTI episode. But you aren't ready to talk about that. Anyway. But... My dog is tired of this.
He's very much over
Friendship is different, right? Every woman I meet, I like. Every woman I meet, it's very rare that I meet a woman and I'm like, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Most women I meet, I like, but does that necessarily mean we're compatible to have this long-term, immersive, deep relationship? No. That actually comes with time and nurturing and all these other factors that play into, is this your person? And so I think friendship is actually the active choice to be like, I really like you, first of all. But next, I want to take the time to spend time with you and get to know you and figure out where our values align and then enjoy your company over and over, right? These are all these things. And I think the added thing with, if you're in a romantic relationship or you have friendship and then you meet someone romantic, it's really easy to just want to spend all your time with that romantic partner. So the added layer of female friendship too, and why it can't just be it comes to you and you're not looking for it, is because you have to make the effort.
1000%. I said it on a previous episode. I think our friendship was a series of yeses, strategic yeses that led us.
And thank God we were like, you know what, let me keep on spending time with her and getting to know her.
Yeah.
And then you chose to say yes to come with me on that tour. Yeah. And et cetera, et cetera.
And we yes to videos and yes to drinks and yes to weddings and yes to all the things that led us to here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree.
So, and I don't know why, but I can't help but feel like, and maybe I can't put my finger on this, that's different than a romantic relationship. Because romantic relationships are a series of yeses, don't get me wrong, but I think you have that added momentum of lust and attraction because you each want something from the other, and then you get to know each other, and it's beautiful. And
because you can be sick of someone emotionally but still want to have sex with them.
Right.
And continue to do so.
Friendship is heavy work. Yeah. Because I'm here to look at you. I am here to stare at you.
We settled in.
Where's my wine?
Oh my God, you're right.
30 minutes goes by so fast when it's something that we really want to talk about. Vraiment, oui, bah oui, en France, parce que, listen to me, comme ça, listen to me, because friendship is the most beautiful thing in France.
It's true.
Paris, they say Paris is for lovers. Yes. And it's okay. It's for friends.
Oh.
It's for friends. It's for a little laugh. A little. You know that's not the French laugh.
A little.
That was a joke. The French don't laugh. Anyway.
That's that.
Anyway, you are someone who has said, and this is crazy to me, and I disagree. Tiffany says that she's not a girl's girl.
No, I do say that.
And that's crazy because I'm a girl's girl.
That was a good one.
And I think, thank you, that was a good gulp. I'm changing the name of the show. It's called
Gulps.
With Taryn Delaney and Tiffany Singleton.
Gulps.
And Tiffany, to me, is absolutely a girl's girl. I would love you to talk about that. Like, why do you say that you're not a girl's girl?
I think because we briefly touched on this before, I think my definition of girl's girl was just very skewed. To me, I've always imagined a girl's girl to be somebody that you can call no matter what. Like, you call, she shows up.
And that's you.
Nothing shocks her.
That's you.
Okay, fine.
When have I ever told you something and you were like, I'm too shocked to speak?
That's a good point.
I've told you some of the most rancid, cantankerous stuff, and you just take a
unfazed.
You go, well, I need a cigarette.
Exactly.
Let's keep talking.
You're right. That's fair.
We keep going.
Okay, yes. So someone that you can call, she's unfazed. Someone that you can call, she's always there. The friend who you can put in any situation and you know that she's comfortable. You don't have to worry about her. Well, shit.
And you're slowly describing yourself.
Well, fine.
It's so funny that this question to me reveals something more important.
What?
Which is we have such a skewed narrative of ourselves.
Yeah.
And we always will. We never see ourselves clearly.
That's true.
Another important reason why you have girlfriends. Mm-hmm. Because I think the lens through which your girlfriends see you is probably some of them. It's as good as it can get. It's as authentic as you can get.
Can I say why I think that's true?
Tell me.
I think you could say that of a parent, but parents love you unconditionally.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God.
You could say that of a partner, but partners in theory love you unconditionally up until a certain point. They too have an emotional threshold.
But it's different because there's a level of bias with a romantic partner. Yes.
Correct. But with a girlfriend, back to the continuous series of yeses.
And choice.
It's choice. They choose to be there. They choose to love you through it all.
Yeah.
Like, damn, you're right. If I can trust anybody, it's y'all.
Damn, you just dropped a word.
Speak on it.
Come on, give him a gulp.
Speak.
That's pretty good.
Girl, I about died doing that. I don't know how you do that. Mine went the wrong way.
They call me the gulper.
That's crazy.
They call me Big Gluck.
Ew. Gulp 3000.
That was my nickname in college.
The Big Gulp. 7-Eleven coming for you quick. Screaming.
Well, take the sponsorship. Just kidding. I know they don't have budget.
That would be crazy. We do every episode with big gulps. Anyway.
Let me not talk shit about 7-Eleven because I bet they do have budget.
They have a coin. But yeah, you just said a word yourself. That's very true. Girlfriends will be there.
Or be square. let me roll up or roll out. If there's a tornado, I'm coming to get your ass. Bunker or not, we're going to climb under something. I'm going to grab your tiny little black ankles.
Oh.
I'm going to say, Tiffany, don't fucking move. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know either. I was pantomiming everything that you were saying.
I got it. A tornado blows through.
Mm-hmm.
New York City, first of its kind.
Mm.
The
scariest sound. The tornado.
And I turn to my husband and I say, get the dog, stay low. I love you more than anything.
I got to go get
I've
Tiffany.
got to go get something. He goes, what are you going to go get? I said, don't worry about me. You'll see me sprinting barefoot down Columbus Avenue to your apartment to go get you.
I believe that.
There is no life on this earth if you're not on it.
I believe that, and I agree.
And I'll say, don't move. Trust me. You'll say, Taryn, no! Wind's blowing. My hair's in my face. I chain you down. I handcuff you to a pole. You're in. And you go, Taryn, wait, no.
You don't
what
chain
about
yourself?
You? No. And that's when I get lifted away.
No.
But I survive.
Thank
I'm flying
God.
around in the sky. I get dropped off somewhere. Crow. Where's Taryn? She's in a field in New Jersey. But then you pull up in a Hummer. Because of
knew
course,
you were gonna
these are the only cars that are going to survive a tornado. You want to look at me in my face and tell me Hummers are not going to survive tornadoes?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You've obviously never driven a Hummer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The American tank. Anyways,
It's true.
You pull up in a Hummer,
Yep.
which you hot wired and stole.
Correct. Not
Absolutely.
mine. No.
You pull up in it. I'm in a field. On my
Laid
back.
out.
I've got debris in me. It's like the impossible.
Oh no.
You come and get me. Put me in the back of the car.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That, ladies and gentlemen,
Mm-hmm.
is what friends are for.
If you're not hot wiring Hummers and chaining people to poles, what do you have? I'm just kidding. You're right though. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I'd do some nefarious things on your behalf.
As would I.
Without question.
Oh, I would.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't have to give me much detail.
Oh, absolutely.
I would show up. I feel like that's the basis of what we do now. We do crazy shit. You're
Well.
like, just be there.
The amount of times I've called you like, girl. You be like, girl.
Girl. Okay. Truly. No, I love that. I love... Oh, this is another fun question. I know we're wrapping. Here goes. What is... When you were a little girl, what did you imagine friendship to be as an adult? Like, what were your favorite examples of female relationships as a kid?
Well, I've said this before on the show, but watching my mom and her girlfriends.
Yep.
When I was 8, my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and my mom has never remarried. My mom got divorced before I was even born from my father, and then she's never remarried. And I remember, and I always talk about this, my mom told me about her cancer diagnosis, and she had a really crap boyfriend at the time. And I mean this with my whole chest, on the very off chance, on the less than 1% chance, that this man that my mom was dating when she had cancer was listening to this podcast. Let me look at my camera. It's on sight I ever see you again. And that's crazy. These little fists going in your face. This man left my mom high and dry when she got diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
Wild.
Were they together a long time before this?
5 years. So now you have 2 enemies. Camera, get on Tiffany.
Because it's really on sight. Faceless, nameless man.
I hope you have a bunker. Because if you ever see a Hummer coming down your street and it just slows down, stops in front of your house, the Hummer EV,
The lights dim.
and it's 2 black women in trench coats, it's over for you.
You know what's coming.
Anyways, my mom is dating a very trash guy. And he was very quickly nowhere to be seen or found when she was in need.
Wow.
For details I won't go into because it's not my story to tell. And the day had come for her, first chemotherapy sessions. And that was the first time I've always said it was never bothered me that my parents were divorced. That never bothered me growing up because my mom was my mom. She was everything I could have ever needed. My preacher, my doctor, my nurse. My mom was everything I could ever need. It was the first time I ever seen my mom sick.
Yeah.
I'd never even had to see my mom had a cold.
Yeah.
Up until that point, right? And she was so sick. And I remember there was a knock at the door, and we went downstairs. And it was my mom's friends. It was Lindsay, who you've met, with lasagna. My mom's friend Kelly came and took the trash out. My mom's friend Carolyn put me to bed that night and read me a story. It was my mom's army of friends that were there for her every step of the way through her cancer treatment. No questions asked.
Yeah.
No questions asked. Not a comment about it. She didn't even call them.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
She was just there, and they knew what she needed, and they took care of her kids, and they consoled her children, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when my mom was trying to think about, I remember we sat with my mom, and she had this really hard conversation with us, in which she was like, I have to decide who would take care of you and your brother. And of course, I have a dad, and I love my dad, and my dad is great, but my dad, there's no but. I love my dad, and my dad is great, and I have my dad in my life. But I remember feeling so safe knowing the fact that there was this village of women who were going to make sure that we were okay.
Yeah.
And there was a village of women making sure my mom was okay. Right? What a beautiful gift. And I knew in that moment that shaped my understanding of what female friendship is. And that is why I will always... That was a spicy little... That was a very feminine horn.
Dude!
And that is why I will always be a proud homegirl and girl's girl. I think it is the most important thing you can do with your life is be part of a sisterhood. And make yourself part of a sisterhood.
Yeah. Heavy on the make yourself a part of it. That's an active decision.
Travai, diva.
Travai, diva. I love you.
Cheers to friendship, and cheers to all the girlfriends, the girls, gays, and theys out there who make themselves part of villages. We love you. We salute you. And thank you for watching. And always remember, we're your girls.
Cheers, girl. I love you.